this is Gary and Lila. YouTube channel is called Just Us, Gary and Lila. And we have a big blended family, and we're going to talk about, introduce you to each of them.
And I'll introduce you to the kids.
Okay.
So we have Mindy's our oldest. She's married to Terry. And they have 3 children.
So Mindy and Terry, they've been married 5 years now, I think. And, Mindy was one who she just, warmed up to the idea of me as a dad right away. And she called me dad. And, I was kind of taken aback by how quickly she warmed up and referring to me as dad, and that was really nice. And having the oldest do that was a great example for the other kids.
Then we have Eric. That's Gary's oldest son, and he has 1 stepson.
Just got married last fall, and so he married a really nice gal. Her name's Becca, and they have 1 child, Becca. He's actually, I think he's 6?
I think so.
Yeah. So anyways, Peyton is his name, and he's 6, and that's Eric's stepson now, and they're really a great little family there.
And then we have Andy
So
and
we're
Michaela. We're going in order of age.
Okay.
And so then Andy is married to Michaela, an awesome young lady.
So Andy and Michaela, they don't have any kids yet.
No.
But they've only been married for what?
Year and a half?
Yeah, year and a half. Not even that. Yeah, okay. 1 year and a couple months. So they're in Kansas City.
We miss them on get-togethers. There's that little piece missing. We don't have Andy and Michaela, and we don't have my son Levi and his wife Sharon are in Florida. So, and they don't have any children.
They've been married how long?
They have been married 3 years.
Okay. Remember, so
3
they
and a
got
half.
Yeah. So that gutsy move. They got married, sold everything, moved to Florida because they didn't like the Minnesota weather so much. So pretty gutsy, but it worked out for them. So, yeah. And
then they have 2 dogs and 2 cats, and they're down in Florida. And then we have next one down would be Jasmine and Troy, and they have a very
her daughter.
Yep, my daughter. Very big blended family. They have Troy was previously married in the past, and so he has 3. He came into the marriage with. Jasmine had 1 before she met Troy, and so it's one of those cases of his and hers and theirs. And then they have 2 more.
So they've got 2 they have 2. Troy has like 2 exes. One was like a high school sweetheart, but so they never got married. But then he has an ex-wife, and so holidays are extra difficult for them because they have to navigate, through a few families there with the kids, and so the kids feel like they're on a train going around from family to family, but they get lots of presents that way.
And then we have Elise.
Elise is my youngest, and she's, I forget how old she is. Anyways.
She's 31.
31. See, she knows all the ages. I don't. But
But
so
she has a son, Tony.
yep,
He's
Tony.
9.5.
Yep. And so Tony
And
is
Lola.
just wonderful little boy. He's got a little, he's got a lot of ADHD, but then so do I. So did Eric. It kind of runs in our family, I think. But, it means that we've got a lot of charisma, so that's okay.
So
There's a whole lot going on in our family.
But when Gary and I got married, we've been married 14 years now. And so at the time when we were dating, right before the wedding, you could say our children, there was 2 16-year-olds, 2 18-year-olds, and a 20 and a 21-year-old. So that was a handful to bring it all together. And
Yeah.
everybody called us the Brady Bunch. And the kids hated hearing that. They were like, cringing every time.
Yeah.
But we're like, you know what? I guess we're done. We've heard it enough. It is what it is.
Yeah, and it's in every step family. The first 4 or 5 years are tough because there's resentments and loyalties to the other parent that's no longer around, and there's just stuff going on in step families and feelings between the kids and the new parent that make it difficult. And so I can tell you it's never ever perfect, but it's really good for us right now. Now, Lila and I, we are Stephen ministers. We went to training for a better part of a year to learn how to do counseling, and so we help out at the church, and we do marriage mentoring for couples that are in their second marriage, most of them with stepchildren in the situation, blended families.
Yeah. That's
And
right.
so, and we've had some that haven't made it, and we've had some that have gotten through some of the toughest times ever. And our counseling approach is we just tell our stories and how we surmounted these things, and that's what we'll do in these video series, and hopefully that'll help everyone to be able to cope with it. But I'm just here to tell you, folks, if you're starting a blended family or you're in a blended family, it's not an easy thing. The statistics are staggering. It's something like over 80% of marriages with stepchildren fail. And so we're here to change that statistic. And we'd like to get that to be very low, like lower than the national divorce statistic, which is 50% of all marriages end in divorce in the United States. So this is Riley and this is Trixie. You'll see them from time to time. They're our only children that are at home now.
Empty nesters except for the 2 dogs and 2 cats
Yeah.
and the fish tanks.
We have a kind of an out-of-control fish hobby in the basement, and I do some videos. I have actually a YouTube channel called Cyclone Reef that I do talking about the hobby. But and you might see some fish tanks from time to time, and you'll definitely see these guys because they're around us all the time. But let's get into what we're here to talk about tonight. So today we're going to talk about making the family whole. How do you blend and get that really difficult first few months behind you? And then we're going to talk about how we navigate the holiday schedule. We'll talk about holidays past. We'll talk about how to keep the gift giving fair. We'll talk about how to kind of break down the walls and the awkwardness of blended family and at holiday gatherings. And then we're going to talk about maybe how to work on, we call them little hard-boiled eggs, the kids that maybe aren't warming up so much. There's some that are going to warm up really fast. They really want this. They want mom and dad to be happy. And but there's others that don't warm up so fast to the whole idea. And I'm anyway. So, and then we'll talk about traditions and expectations for holidays. So let's go ahead and jump right in. When we were first married, so I sold my house, and it was like, well, what do we do now? We just got married, and my house is gonna be on the market, and or actually, I think it was already sold, right?
It sold so quick. The first day it was on the market, and they wanted to move in right away. So they
So
said,
we had
well,
30 days.
we'll give you extra if you move out sooner and close this right away. And so we had 30 days
Yeah.
to put a wedding together and get married so that we can live in my home until we could sell that and get a home that we both were. It was new territory, a neutral zone for everyone.
So I got everything in the pod, which then they haul away to a warehouse until you're ready to move it in. And we were selling her house too, because we believe as marriage mentors that it's really important, and a lot of people will try to disagree with this, but in the end, we've had every couple that we've ever worked with who disagree vehemently in the beginning that eventually end up agreeing that you need to everyone start on equal ground. In other words, she can't move in with you and you can't move in with her. You need to get rid of the old homes and move into our house. And it took us a good year and a half to be able to get to that point. But we really, and we'll talk about this more in this video series, but we really believe that you need to have our house, not her house or my house. Because if it's your house, you have hand against, and the kids have feel that they have some sort of territorial boundary that it's their house and you aren't part of it because you're step. So at any rate, I moved into Lila's house, and while we were on our honeymoon, several kids moved out, and there were some parties and stuff too. But I don't want to get down a rabbit hole too far here, but we demanded that Jasmine and Elise, being the youngest, we demanded that they call me Dad and Lila Mom in our house.
And I wasn't sure how that would go because that's kind of messing with the kid's mind real fast.
Yeah.
And so, I should have went with my gut instinct and just, said, we got to let them come around to it. But we had said, we think, let's try this. Let's, this is Dad and this is Mom. And so I think Elise went ahead with it fairly soon. She was okay with it for a while. And then I think it made her mom, I think, got upset about it. And so she ended up calling me Mum. And her mom is Mother or Mom. And so there was she put a little different twist on it.
The Mum thing came from Jasmine, remember? Because she used to go,
Mom,
Mom,
Mother,
Mom,
Mom,
Mom, Mom,
Mom.
So, at any rate.
So then Jasmine, she had never had a dad around for many years. And so that's another story for another day.
But it took a long time, like
Dad,
years and years and years, for us to be called Mom and Dad for real. We backed off on that and we just let it go. We were demanding it in the beginning, and we decided, at the time we thought that was the thing to do. But
bringing
we backed
the family
off.
close together, right?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
That's not how you make the family whole, by demanding that you
gotta-
succumb to our will.
You got to let everybody come around in their own time.
Yeah. So it took. So today, Jasmine calls me Dad. Mindy calls me Dad. Levi doesn't call me Dad. And then on my side, Levi does call you Mom, and Andy, I don't know if he calls you Mom or not. But I know Eric doesn't.
They signed the card
They did, yeah.
card last year.
We always sign the birthday cards from Mom and Dad. I mean, so we're still got a little bit of a pushing of the Mom and Dad thing underneath it all. But, and we try to just, it's not going to happen because you demand it. It's going to happen
because it's right.
Because it's right and it's time, and because you've been there and you've been, just living life with these stepkids. That's when it happens. And it's, and that means being around on holidays, being around for all the sporting events, the school things, the school conferences, everything as a step parent.
The bad.
You don't just send the natural parent to all those. As a step parent, you go and be supportive, even if you don't feel like it, because you know what? That's how you get close to that stepchild.
They know if you're truly interested or not.
Yeah.
They will feel it.
And I was. I wasn't forcing myself to go to any of those things.
You willingly did. You were wanting just the whole complete family to come together.